Hello everyone, this is Nono Art and today I will be painting for the first time using gouache paints. It is an illustration of Eren from the Shingeki no Kyojin anime. So I usually use the watercolors for these 3 years, and now I am trying to get familiar with gouache as I have seen many artists use it and the outcome is very beautiful. So I am starting with a light flat wash of sepia color using watercolors first, just to set the undertone and define some shadows and lights, as I am still not confident starting with gouache on the blind. This is a very experimental piece, and as it's the first time trying them, I just did a couple quick tests before this one that you can find on Instagram. I think one is a drawing of Lucifer and a bookmark with the Eren's face on it too. It was for a friend. So as I was telling you, I am more used to watercolors, so it took me way too much time to finish this piece, and I have made so many mistakes and I have found so many difficulties while painting with gouache. So this video is kind of a roast me video where I will point out every mistake that I made and everything that I could have done better, so that next time I wouldn't do the same mistakes. So it's kind of a good self-review, and if any of you is a gouache user or have some advice for me, please tell me in the comments. So as usual, I started with the skin, and the mistake is that I was too lazy and didn't mix all the shades that I had in my mind for the skin. I thought I would mix them on the paper as I do with watercolors, but I ended up wasting too much time trying to get the right colors on the paper. So my advice, especially for the skin tone, is that you mix your shades before, especially if you like to use a palette of colors, not a shadow darker or shadow lighter. Like if you like to use greens and pinks and yellows, it's better to mix before you start painting. So you choose a flat skin tone and the mid-tones and the shadows and of course the highlights. As you can see again, I was too impatient and started with the line art before I finished building the skin. And this is, I guess, because I am used to watercolors where I don't have to deal with the ugly face like with gouache. And I think this is because I am used to watercolors where I don't have to deal with the ugly face like with gouache. So I have to be patient and wait for the skin to be built well, I guess, if this is correct, and for the paint to dry, and the skin or the blending will slowly be showing itself as I am building it slowly. But I guess I was too impatient to see Eren's face. Also, at this point I remember that I swore to myself that I will stop overdoing it like next time and try to be a little bit more minimalistic, just at least for the studying phase or for the learning phase, so that I wouldn't just abandon the medium for it being hard. Surprisingly, gouache, I found gouache very, very hard. I don't know if I felt the same way with watercolors when I was learning them. Also, as you can see, the paint doesn't dry the way you think it would dry. It dries darker for light tones and lighter for dark tones. This is why I was going back and forth trying to get the right tone I envisioned in my head. So again, with the eyebrows, they are too dark, just like the eyes, and I shouldn't have drawn them before finishing the skin, before being sure about the skin. Again, don't be impatient, just be patient with the ugly face. face here you can see the skin tone is a bit different because I added some warm tones like yellows and pinks on his forehead and cheeks, and I forgot to film the process. I'm sorry, it was just a 10 minutes adjustment. I have to tell you that this is what I like about gouache until now compared to watercolors. It's that it's a little more forgiving than watercolors, and you can correct actually your mistakes. I thought that I was done for when I got that bad skin tone, and it was corrected. So now for the head, as I have learned from my mistakes, I painted the hair fully with a flat color. The one that I decided was his hair color, left it to dry, and then added some shadows and light after it dried well, with keeping in mind a thick consistency for the shadows and for the light, so that I don't reactivate and expose the paper just like I did with the skin. So then for the background, I obviously went for a dark one, because this is one of the reasons I got this gouache set, is that with watercolors I couldn't really make paintings with dark backgrounds, and because watercolors are kind of transparent and you can't go really dark, especially for the background. You risk ruining your painting. You have to be really careful, and also paper is a big deal in watercolors. Me, I use cheap watercolor paper, and even though I have good watercolor brand, the paper kind of makes the paint a little bit, how to say, bland, or it fades the color a little bit, so it didn't help. So I guess I am very happy because I like paintings with dark mood. To be honest, I will always use watercolors. They are so fun to use, and I will share with you guys some processes of paintings in the future. But for now, I want to try and master gouache, and maybe when I am better with gouache, I will have the courage to mix watercolor and gouache and play between them. The thing with watercolors is that they're like an opening medium to me, that opened the door for me to try other stuff, like now, gouache for now. So the face is a little bit different again. It's just I have added a unified layer of light skin tone because I thought the skin was a bit grayish, and I have added the marks that he has after transforming from Titan to human, and made the brows lighter. The flowers, I really tried my best here. They're not really my strong point, so I did what I could with them, especially when they are white. I had to add some blues, and just between, I have played between the blue and the white. I used watercolors for the green of the leaves here, as I don't have the right shades in my gouache palette. I just used watercolors. after that I have adjusted the contrast by making the blouse pop a little bit. I thought I had no choice but to leave the blouse like that, but then I remembered that this is gouache and I get to play a little bit and be a little bit bolder. I went with a really thick consistency for the gouache, but as you can see it is way too dry, so I'm trying to put on the shades that I wanted, since I want to give his blouse a movement and I would like to show the paint strokes. I don't like it to be fully blended, so I put all the colors that I wanted, and then I damped my brush. It is a clean brush, and I went and blend all the colors. As you can see, I have put shadows in the right places where you see fit, and the lights where the light could hit him. And then I am just darkening the background more and more. And after that I have found out the flowers to be a little bit too not in the painting, if you understand me. They were like too white and popping out, and I wanted them to blend a little bit more in the painting. So I have worked more on the shadows, and what I did is I activated the edges of each leaf, of the leaves, and it did give them the illusion as if they are floating, I guess, in the background, as if they are a part of the background. And I used the same blue that I used on the background, only with more white, and the edges should have been blended more with the background. So what I did, as I told you, is just I reactivated and put on some more blue on the leaves, just to make the eye remember that these flowers are in a dark place. This way all the colors were in harmony, and I added some little yellow particles and white particles near the flowers and on the background, as you can see. So now my favorite part is tape peeling, as you can see. So now I am done with the painting. To be honest, it was a very hard first experience. The paint kept drying. I had to reactivate with the water, but the outcome was really worth it. Watercolors are really something, and gouache is something else. The outcome was really worth to get them and to try them. I hope I could do more in the future, even though it is time consuming, but it was really fun using them. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next video. Don't forget to give me some advices in the comment box. See ya!